If I showed people in Canada this, they would be like, this is insane. Hello there and welcome back to the Life in Germany channel. My name is Jenna. I'm a Canadian who's been living here in Germany since 2014, sharing all of my stories, my experiences, my learnings, meeting up with experts on different topics to help you get settled. Today, I'm here to tell you that one of the reasons I love living in Germany is due to the affordability. So I guess if you're a German watching my YouTube channel right now, use this as a way to tell yourself, okay, it's not that bad here in Germany. Because I am here to share with you some things that are just ridiculously expensive in Canada. Yes, I know we pay a lot in gas here in Germany, a lot in electricity at the moment here in Germany, but trust me when I say this, I've sat down with my mom on numerous occasions to go through her expenses and my expenses. Every single time, you guys, year after year, over the last 9 years, it has worked out that if she were to live here in Germany, she would be spending about 1/3 of the expenses that she pays out each and every month. She actually also lives outside of the Greater Toronto area, which should be a bit more affordable, but it's not. Here is why, if you live in Germany, you can be thankful and maybe you want to reconsider complaining the next time you spend money on something that you think is too expensive. Food. Food at restaurants and food in the grocery store specifically is a lot more affordable here in Germany. When I shop in Canada, there are so many products, so many options. I think I've showed you guys before, the aisles are just huge. You've got 500 different options of cereal. You really need to pick and choose what you're buying, if you can afford it. What I really don't like about Canada, actually they do this in the Netherlands too, is that you get a deal if you buy 3 for $5. If you buy in bulk, then you're rewarded with a cheaper price. At the end of the day, that cheaper price still isn't as cheap as it is here in Germany, and I just love the ease of being able to go to the grocery store here, check out a bag of chips. I can buy one if I want for 75 cents here, or I can buy the brand name for 150, 250, maybe maximum €3. And all of the basics here in Germany, like milk, bread, cheese, that stuff is all super affordable. You can buy a pack of pre-sliced cheese here for your sandwiches for about $2. Whereas in Canada, you're looking at spending probably a minimum of €5 for that same pack of cheese. I never take for granted that I have the luxury of often being able to go through the grocery store and really just grab whatever I want off the shelf and throw it in my cart. Granted, I shop at Penny, Aldi, and Lidl, all of the discount stores, which maybe is comparable to a No Frills in Canada. Nonetheless, groceries are significantly cheaper, and that for me is absolutely the biggest relief living here in Germany. Alcohol. I've said before, I'm really not much of a drinker, but it is nice to be able to go to a restaurant and not have to pay an arm and a leg just for a glass of wine. Prices have gone up, of course. I mean, they did in Canada too, but if you want to get a beer, it's usually cheaper than getting a bottle of water. And you can pay, depending on where you are in Germany, somewhere between €2 to €4 for a beer, whereas in Canada, I have paid upwards of about €8 to €10 for a beer at just an average low-cost restaurant. But let's look at it here. So we have the LCBO, which is called the Liquor Control Board of Ontario, where I am from, and you can actually only buy these hard liquors, beer, wine, whiskey, bourbon, whatever. We also have the beer store, and you can buy all of your beer, sometimes a little bit of liquor there as well. Rules have recently changed, so you can buy some beers, I believe a little bit more expensive in the grocery store, but it's not like here in Germany where you go to a grocery store to buy your beer, or I guess to a Trinkgut if you want to buy it in bulk. So here at the LCBO, you can get a bottle of wine for, I guess if you're looking at a cheap bottle, maybe somewhere between $10 or $15, which is about €7, but you're typically looking at spending about €15 for a bottle of wine. Now that doesn't sound all that bad, but what I'm comparing here is the cheap prices. My favorite wine here costs €2.49. Clearly I'm not a wine connoisseur, but I like it. So I'm comparing the wine that I used to drink back in Canada versus the wine that I drink here, which is €2.50 from ID. If you want to get a really nice bottle of wine here in Germany, it might cost you somewhere between 15 and 20 euros. Granted, that could be way more expensive if you want it to be, but it's the same in Canada. Or the other day I was going through one of my grocery store catalogs and I found Johnnie Walker Red Label for $9.99 and I was like, whoa, that's crazy. If I showed people in Canada this, they would be like, this is insane. So a Johnnie Walker Red Label at the LCBO costs at the moment $51, which is about 35 euros. So that is more than 3 times the price. We are heavily taxed on our alcohol in Canada. So the next time you want to complain about buying a beer for 4 euros at a restaurant because it used to be 180, think about all the people spending 10 euros back in Canada. Cell phone bills. Oh my goodness, you guys. Let me start off by saying in Germany, I have a very good plan. I am very proud of my plan, I think. I have 20 gigabytes and I pay $14.99. I am a deal hunter and I share all of these deals in my Life in Germany welcome program. I also have a freebie checklist that goes through how to save money on all these different aspects, whether it's a bank account or a phone plan. It is always linked down below. However, when my mom came over, for example, she just wanted a few gigabytes. She doesn't use her phone very often. And I was able to get her unlimited talk and text EU-wide for €3.50. So when you're looking in Canada, for example, let's say Bell or Telus or Fido, you're looking at the lowest possible phone plan starting at about $50 Canadian, which is about 35 euros. But with this plan, you're getting a lot less than what I'm getting here in Germany. So I get 20 gigabytes, they might get 3 to 5 gigabytes. You can also pay upwards to 180 Canadian per month. You can share it among your family if you want. In Germany, we have a lot more competition. So the higher the competition, the lower the cost, of course. Whereas in Canada, we don't have many cell phone providers, so the competition is not as fierce, which means phone plans are insanely expensive. Tipping, you've probably heard this one before. In Canada, we tip somewhere between 15 and 20%. When I left almost 9 years ago, we were tipping about 15%. Now it's gone up to 20%. Plus you get taxed on top of that when your receipt comes to the table. So it's really like a slap in the face. You're actually paying almost double your bill in tips and taxes. Then it makes you almost not want to go out. Like I'm actually scared. We're going home for Elternzeit for 3 months and I'm like debating whether or not we're even gonna go out to restaurants now because it's just so crazy. Here in Germany, people say tipping has also gone up. We pay about 10% within our family. A lot of people I know still actually just round up. That used to be very common here in Germany where you just be like, okay, the bill is, I don't know, 33,80. Wir machen 35, ne? So that's a relief. You've also got car rentals. So when we're looking at, let's say we go on to, I don't know, billiger Mietwagen, for example. We're looking at the exact same dates in Toronto versus Berlin. I decided to go with the most favorable option, beliebt in Deutschland and rundum sorglos Sieger, you know, like most protective package you can possibly get. We'll look at these for Berlin and we'll look at these for Toronto. Here you can see the favorite package is about 48 euros. So 50 euros for a car per day. That's quite expensive. I like to pay somewhere between 15 and 20 euros. So I would probably go and do my research to figure out how I can pay a little bit less. The rundum sorglos packet is about 33 euros and that's okay. You know, that one means that everything's covered. You don't have to worry about anything. You get in a car crash, it doesn't matter. You just drop it off and you can drive back home again. So these are like, I guess, your standard prices when you're looking at getting something here in Berlin versus your beliebt in Canada and rundum sorglos packet is significantly more expensive. Your favorite one being 96 euros a day. Like that is so expensive. We are going for 3 months. Can you imagine paying 100 euros a day for 3 months? I would be broke by like day 2. And then you've got the rundum sorglos packet as well. Cheaper, but still 83 euros, you guys. That is insane. Then let's look at hotels. When we look at booking.com, for example, we choose again, same dates, maybe March 1st to March 5th. In Toronto, what would we be spending? Well, if you look at it here, I've just screenshotted, you know, the average prices or the number of hotel options that you can find at what price. So you see here, clearly most of the hotels are well over 100 euros a night. This is common in Canada, and I have to add on top of that, the ratings are actually a lot crappier for these really expensive hotels than they might be in Germany, versus in Berlin, which is also getting a lot more expensive. You have a significantly good range of options. Like, there are quite a number of hotels that you can choose that still cost somewhere between 50 euros and 100 euros. I stay in many that are under 50 euros and save a ton of money, and the ratings are still like 8 or 9 out of 10. And then to wrap it all up, trips in general. People in Germany always want to visit Canada, and I mean, great idea. Canada's beautiful, it is, but the trip in general is going to be so much more expensive. Now, yes, this has to do with the fact that I've mentioned, you know, food costs more, rental car costs more, hotels cost more, cell phone bills cost more. Everything you do is going to cost significantly more than it does in Germany. But on top of it all, Canada is also a huge country, which means the distance to travel is also going to be so much more expensive. Whether you're taking a car or a train, you know, gas is going to be expensive, tickets are going to be expensive. Everything is going to be a lot more pricey. In Europe, you know, I've booked a flight 5 years ago for 20 euros round trip to Portugal and back. That is terrible for the environment. I know, I don't do that anymore. I also have 2 children, so I can't travel the way I used to. But we can just like go for my birthday to Portugal for, you know, like less than 100 euros, versus in Canada, if you wanted to fly from Toronto to Vancouver, that flight's far, you know, that flight is also expensive. They do have more budget airlines now than they used to, but nonetheless, guys, there you have it. Things are just a lot more expensive in Canada. If you want to know what's cheaper, I don't know, sometimes you can get cars cheaper, you can get washing machines cheaper, clothes. I go clothing shopping in Canada a lot. There are a few things that are a bit cheaper, but nonetheless, whether you're traveling or living in Canada, in general, things are a lot more expensive. So I love living here in Germany. I love not having to be on such a tight budget here, and I hope that this kind of makes you guys appreciate living in Germany and just realizing, you know, you could probably complain a lot more if you lived somewhere else. Vielen, vielen lieben Dank und bis später.